that's right there.
Let's get the show started then.
That one's fast.
All
You still got a couple minutes.
right, got a couple minutes?
Yeah, I can get
Give it about what for? Okay, let me know when it's time, Joe.
3 more minutes.
Yeah, just want to get the show on the road. 90 years of unity, honor, and history, serving our future, celebrating age, slavery through service.
You okay?
Mustn't be still going.
Was that work this morning? Everything's done? Yeah, it's nice. Some of that, this area clears out up this way. You know what I mean? I went to the gate going, shit, I like it when it's quiet around here. It's nice, you know? Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of changing now. Yeah.
All the things are
That one.
1 minute, Rob.
Right. 1 minute left. Beautiful day
I
out.
used to live in, when I lived in Florida, we used to have a countdown,
Yeah.
and we'd watch the rocket go up. And from my living room. I
Sure.
could watch it. But this is the 1 minute countdown.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
And 9.
Right.
See everybody running out of their houses just to see it.
There.
It's just, it's no big deal, but everybody had to see it.
All right. Joe, we ready?
All set.
All right, let's rock and roll. All right, welcome to Sober Saturday. This is an open discussion, 1 hour, no break meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Rob, and I'm an alcoholic. All right, and let's have a moment of silence. Here's what we are all about. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-support and through our own contributions. AA is not aligned with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. Anybody new coming back? All right, well, let's introduce ourselves. Let's start with me. My name is Rob. I'm an alcoholic.
Steve was an alcoholic.
Hi, Steve.
Mike, alcoholic.
Mike.
like Joe alcoholic.
Joe.
Marty alcoholic.
Marty.
Leo alcoholic.
Leo.
John alcoholic.
John.
Oh, Rob,
My God.
Thank you.
All right. Well, all right, my name is Rob. I'm an alcoholic. Today's day 800, right? So today's a very special day. It's 800 days. I figured I'll start counting I'll stop counting, you know, after 1,000 and that's it. But, you know, for your first 1,000 days, just count, stack days, one day at a time. I'm very blessed today. I woke up today and I said to myself, wow, this is day 800. And I'm like, I lasted 800 fucking days without a drink. That is crazy. And I never thought in a million years I would last any significant amount of time without a drink if I wasn't in jail. So, you know, this is a monumental day for me. And, you know, and all the people that I've met in these halls, people who are no longer here with us, specifically, I remember this older lady, Jan, I believe her name was. Nice lady. She worked for the MBTA, and she drank herself to death. And it's tragic because, you know, this disease only has one objective, is to kill you, you know. I had a pretty good upbringing, you know what I'm saying? My father passed away when I was 14 years old, but, you know, yeah, I mean, I had a pretty good upbringing, you know. I had many of opportunities, you know, to make something out of myself, and I chose to just do the bare minimum and just really occupy my time with just partying bullshit, you know. And, you know, it's just, once I got started, I couldn't stop. I think between the ages of 27 to 41, that's when my addiction was just all over the place. You know, I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't keep any form of relationship that had any significance, really. You know what I mean? I was very inconsistent. I was consistently inconsistent, but the one thing I was consistent in was getting fucked up, excuse my language, getting fucked up constantly, you know, and forgetting about it the next day. You know, the nickname for me was Blackout Bailey, you know. And I was just blackout, and it just, whatever goes, goes. You know, I've never caught a DUI, which is so ironic because it's just like, that's all I did was drive drunk, you know? So knock on wood for that. But I've caught a whole lot of other fucking cases though. So it's just like, yeah, I could have easily lost my life. I could have easily lost, you know, I could have easily took somebody else's life being behind the wheel inebriated like that, but through the graces of God, that never happened, you know. But for everything I got away with, believe me, I got caught. So it was just like, you know, if the score was like, you know, if it was football, it'd definitely be system by 100 points, you know. I have a 15-page record. So it's just like, I really didn't get away with too much of anything, you know what I mean? You know, every other thing that I've done in my life, I had to pay for. Every mistake, every fucking, you know, mishaps and missteps, I had to pay for it. There was no, you know, I don't come from a rich family. I don't have a name, you know what I'm saying, that to just sweep things under the rug. No, it was just me by myself with a court-appointed attorney, and, you know, my fate in the hands of the powers that be, you know, all because of booze, you know. And not only just because of booze, but the booze didn't help, you know. It's the booze. If, you know, recently the Karen Reed case, right? What was that? Booze, you know. But everybody wants to talk about other stuff, but really it's booze, you know. Drunk people getting together and doing what drunk people do when they get together, and shit just goes at a, you know, when temperatures are at an all-time high. But my journey is just a journey of someone who's just said, okay, enough's enough. I need help. Not that I want help, I need help. And how do I go about doing this? You know, it was, I had to come to the conclusion that not only I'm an alcoholic, that my life has really become unfunctional, you know? I couldn't manage my sanity, you know? How bankrupt I was, you know what I mean? Spiritually. And physically, it was just kicking my ass, you know? throwing up blood and shit, shitting out blood, all this shit, you know, it's just like, it was, everything was taking a toll on me, you know? And finally, I said, after 41, I was 41 years old, now I'm 44. 41 years old, June 22nd, I made a phone call. Next day, I met up with my sponsor, and I just been rolling ever since, you know? The seed was planted a long time ago, about like, you know, me being an alcoholic and shit like that, because one of the traits of an alcoholic, at least where I was, it was just denial. Denial. It's not me, it's them. It's not me, it's they, them, those, there, you know? And once I start to understand, like, damn, you really have had your head up your ass for this long. And you really have been living in denial, which is just a very scary place to live in. And once I just said to myself, okay, cool, fuck all of that, I gotta go through with this. So my first meeting I went to was boring, you know? It really was. It really made me want to like slip my fucking wrist. But I kept going, you know? I just kept going. And I came to this meeting, you know, I came to these halls. And I was just like, you know, it's not bad. It's a very welcoming spirit here. I think one of the first people I saw here was John, you know, the elder statesman here. Actually, me and my buddy Joe, we came in the same year, you know? But the more I kept coming here, the more comfortable I felt, you know, because I just started just listening more. I just started just, you know, just observing, you know. I never saw myself being in no halls. I never saw myself going to meetings and all that shit, man, or else you were like court mandated to do it. But the more I kept coming here, and the more, you know, I kept listening to others, like anything else, I just kept coming. I just kept coming here, you know? And I started going to my 12-step meetings. And that's the meat and potatoes of recovery right there, the 12 steps, you know? And you never graduate. You know, it's just a constant, like it's a never-ending revolving door with the 12 steps. You know, I'm constantly asking God to remove all these shortcomings from me. I'm constantly, you know, making a personal evaluation. Did I flip the right guy off today? Was it the wrong guy? You know what I mean? Those type of things. But no, it just, you know, and then it's just like, oh yes, making amends, yes. You know, writing down a list of people that you hurt, you know, throughout your drunken escapades and shit like that. That part was easy. Well, actually, that part was hard because some of the people that I told off, they really need to be told off, drunk or sober, you know what I mean? But I guess, you know, obviously, did I cross some lines? Absolutely. But the 12 steps, all of that, you know, it's incumbent on you. How bad do you want this sobriety? How bad do you want to change? And when I tell people that it's not so much that I've changed, it's just I've just learned, you know? And once you learn, change is inevitable, you know? And it's a day-to-day grind, it's a day-to-day process, just change. You don't morph into this new person, you know? You grind, you know, you work at it. You know, you do everything that you possibly can to not turn back to where you used to be and who you used to be, you know? So it's just, I know it's easier said than done. Because anybody could come up here and speak good and say all the right things, but are you doing the right things? And what AA has made me into more than ever is just a doer. That's it, you know? Don't pick up the fucking drink, go to meetings. Call your sponsor, you know? Call your priest, you know? Call someone, anyone. But just don't pick up that drink and go to meetings. Those were the basic orders of my sponsor, you know? And that's all I've been doing. That's all I've been doing. Just going to meetings, going to step meetings, not picking up that drink, picking up the phone call. And my life is not where I want it to be, but it's not where it used to be. And I tell myself that every day, you know? Yeah, man, I go through my bullshit just like everybody else, you know what I mean? People piss you off, fucking, guy cuts you off, you know what I mean? There's all the everyday shit. And if I drink, will I make the situation better or will I make the situation worse? Right? Because every time I got drunk, 9 times out of 10, I made the situation worse, thinking I was making shit better, but it wasn't. So that's just what it is. It's really how bad do you want this? And I wanted it bad. I wanted it more than anything. Recovery consumes my whole life. Because if I don't have that, I don't have nothing. You know? I don't worry about jobs. I don't worry about, all that other shit, because they come and go. But what I do worry about is my sanity and my sobriety. That's what I take care of every day. And everything else follows through. One thing I'm learning is patience. Just be patient. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. You're gonna go through trials and tribulations in this journey. Drinking does not immune you to life. What it does do is help you better prepare how to deal with shit. And that's where I'm at, I don't react the same way I used to, or I don't act on emotion as much as I used to. I actually think, sometimes, before I open up my mouth. It's just the little things it's just the little things in recovery that keeps me going, and what keeps me going actually is a constant thirst of knowing that I don't have this shit all figured out. I will never have it all figured out. I'm gonna always remain humble. I'm gonna not compare, but identify. Because I know at any time it could be me. I feel for people who relapse and shit like that. I get it. And what keeps me from not doing it, honestly, it's just a simple choice. Ain't no fucking, I'm no different. You know what I mean? I see why. And it's easy to get trapped up, man. It's easy to say, oh yeah, well, what the fuck? You know what I mean? What's another drink? What's one more drink? What's that gonna do? You need to take the edge off anyway. I know. But it's just like what I tell myself today. If I go back down that road, what is the possibility of me coming back? And I didn't like my answer. Less than 0. Because I have a very addictive personality. Like we all do, obviously. I'm just humbled to be in these halls, to learn from all of y'all, to be willing to sit there and just to listen and observe, because I learned something from everyone, I'm not above the program, and I'm just a part. So that's what today is all about, just playing your part. And with that being said, that's it. I'm going to open up to whatever you guys want to talk about. Thank you. Gratitude. There you go. That's all of that.
No, kick, right there, John's here.
All right, over I
Marty alcoholic?
Hey, Marty.
you're talking there about your pages with the court, I have lots of them too. I mean, lots of them, you know. And, you know, it's good to see you up there, Rob.
Yeah, sir.
You've been working hard at it, and it's showing up now, you know. Yeah, I've been around for a while, so it was a tough year. So all my garbage ended up 2 days ago. It's like I lifted the whole city off my shoulders, all kinds of stuff, you know, like housing court evictions, you name it. And it feels good. It feels good to sit down here. I think it's like years I can sit down here and like stress free, you know. And I don't know, just like it's I've been in here since I was 25, and I never met a bad person in here yet. Not even one, you know. I could call a bad human being, you know. So it's, we are really the good people and the lucky people, you know what I mean? When I'm out there and I deal with a lot of people, I'm self-employed, and I can tell, like, on the majority of them that I meet, that they don't have a program behind them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a program behind me, and that will, like, remind me about my swearing, my profanity. You know, you'll be coming in here constantly, you'll be a lot. You'll be more at peace, you'll be more grateful, you'll be happier and all this. That's not what I find on the streets. So the odd time I meet that person that's really, you can't, that the other night I ask, and what do you think? Yeah, he's in the program, or she's in the program, you know. You can always tell. I mean, it'd be a lot better world if everybody was going to therapy, you know. But thanks for sharing there about, you know, I could never say enough about AA, you know. There was a time I used to try and analyze it. I don't know, when I was in about 25 years, I was thinking, you know, I don't know, maybe I don't have to be here anymore, just that or the other, but this is 15 years later, and I'm just thinking glad I don't analyze anything. I'm just glad that I'm here, and I hope I'll be here again tomorrow. You know, never mind analyzing that I should be here or should not be here. I'm glad I'm here, and then, you know, it doesn't bother me about being an alcoholic. I don't fucking care who knows I'm an alcoholic, because, well, you know, like, my drinking came with a lot of trouble. You know, I left a $250,000 to the courthouse. And I never regretted one cent of it, because, first of all, they didn't get me as far as jail. It was damn close. And, you know, I learned a lot of good lessons. And I've had a life. I had a life since that. My kids and grandkids never seen me with a drink in my hand. And my youngest son is 37, 38. Now he's in and out of programs with alcohol. You know, it's a bitch, you know, like, and he's good. He's a good kid, good schools, good everything. The looks, the brains, the lot. Not because he's my son, but it's so fucking sad. He was 2 tours in Iraq. Never been the fucking same, you know? So I gotta carry that. I'm stress-free of a lot of things in life today, but then I gotta carry that. He got out of a program 4 or 5 days ago, and he just signed himself in 2 days later. But he's not a barrel drinker, right? He's not a fall-down drunk, but he had a bunch of nips, and he just said to his mom that day, it's not gonna stop with a bunch of nips. It's gonna get worse. So 2 days later, go back in again. So I don't know, just pray 7 days a week, and there's only a certain amount of things we can do, you know, and not all the answers are in here either. You know, like, some people are speaking smart when it comes to like health, give people that have outside help and in here, and then you're in good shape, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I think my life is too busy for all that maybe, you know? So thanks, Rob, great job.
No, thank you, Marty. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Mike, Rob.
Hey, Mike.
Thanks, Rob.
No problem.
Congrats on that, you mentioned about going back out. I hear, I agree, I understand what you're saying. I'm scared of the thought. That's kind of what keeps me coming back, because I don't know what's gonna, I've got no, you guys talk about a record, I've got a clean record. I got pulled over by the state the other day, so I have to take it, no big deal. But just tell, I've got nothing for me. So I'll pay $215 to know that I got nothing trailing me around, because it was 3 minutes, I was, boom, boom, done, here we go. Take it, slow down. So that means I got nothing for me. I don't have any luck left. I wouldn't, if I went back out, I'm not someone, whatever it was, I had someone watching out for me, and now I'm in here doing the right thing, but I'm not, if I go back out, it's not gonna be the same, I know it, and that scares me. And I got Steve here, I hear him saying it's out there doing push-ups, and I agree. If I go back out, I don't know if I'll come back. So that's what keeps me coming, for at least for right now. I mean, good. I've seen a lot of improvement, a lot of changes in the past 7 or so months that I've been coming in here, and for the better, and I like it. I have no desire to go back, and I'm just gonna keep going.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
I'm Steve, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Steve.
You gotta watch your highs and your lows. I worked so hard, I went 3 times a day to a meeting 3 times a day. And worked my ass off for the first year, went through my stuff, had everything, and I was at an all-time high. And, they threw this dramatic party for me, because I'd been to so many meetings, so I got to tell my story 3 times that day, and I was so worked up over it, and proud of myself, I was happy where I was and everything else. But, I ended up stopping by the local pub that I go to, that I used to go to. I used to hang out there. I used to work out of there. I mean, I had painting crews working everywhere, and that was my office. Everybody knew that No Name Bar, that's where Steve was. But I walked back in there and told a bunch of drunks that I had a year of sobriety, and I was bragging about it. And, the next thing I knew, there was a drink going down my throat, because I was so happy I celebrated. And it took me 3 days, and I was lucky because I told on myself, but I was lucky that, I had a good sponsor. He came right over my house, told me, this, that. What the fuck's wrong with you? He was honest, he was hard on me. And he says, now you gotta go back in there and tell everybody that you're an asshole. The humility thing. And Monday morning, I went in there at a noon meeting, and I told on myself, I told everybody. And I have had to apologize and everything else. But, I have a daughter, she's in the process of, she's incarcerated right now because her problem, she's 38 years old, and she can't get this. I had her for 2-3 years in the program with my friends, and she was living in my house. My daughter was and I was tough on her. I was as tough as, because I cared about her. But, I could do that with somebody else. Sponsor somebody, it's not really a problem. But doing it to your own daughter, that's the hardest thing, or your own son. It's hard to do. You can't really sponsor them. Because you end up talking down to them, you end up hurting their feelings. Then mom gets involved, and then it's a whole other thing. But, you gotta pray on it. And I figure that's all I can do right now is pray that she'll get it. She likes the marijuana maintenance. And it never works. I see people, 15 years I've been doing this, and I've never seen anybody do the marijuana maintenance, It doesn't work.
Mm.
You gotta quit everything, you know, or nothing. Because you get to a certain peak, or you get high one day and all of a sudden there's a drink there and you take a drink and that's it. You're back on the, you know, this disease is out there doing push-ups, waiting for us to come back. And, you know, I have to remember that every day. Play it through. You know, run the tape back through. If I take this first drink, what's gonna happen? And am I ever gonna make it back? You know, I drank to the insanity. I had the gift of desperation. That's the only reason I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous. It's because my body gave out. My liver was so bad. I was yellow, I was gray. They said my liver was completely shot. I had to get on a list, a donor list to get a liver. And even then, it's you know, it's only 50-50 chance that you'll get a liver. But the thing was, you had to be sober for 2 years before you could even get on that list. So it was 3 years I was sober, and I wasn't getting any motivation on the list. And you know, it took me 5 years before I finally got my liver. But they called me at 4 in the morning. Damn right. I drove from Orlando all the way to Jacksonville, and they put a liver in before noon. And I said, oh man, I got a life second to none now. But I had to work at that for 2, 3, 4 years before I could even get, you know, the liver. But it's the desperation. I had desperation because I had to learn. I was so sick that I was jaundice and everything else that I had a brain infection, encephalitis, all different kinds of problems. But I was in the hospital for 6-8 months, and then I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to talk again. I couldn't talk. I couldn't communicate or anything for a long time. And I was in a rehab for 9 months after I got the liver, and I started walking, learn how to walk, talk, and do everything over again. But the gift of desperation. And my sponsor, the only thing you gotta do is pass it on. That's the only thing you gotta give away, you know? And that's what I did, you know? So, I got a gift. And I give it away every day, one way or another. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
Joe, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Joe.
Thank you, Rob. What a growing up experience I had growing up with you. It's good. I really appreciate it when I see someone that I came in the halls with, because it's like a classmate. I mentioned, I joked the class of 2023, but it's like having a classmate, even though, I don't know how many years, you're probably 20-something years older than you, but we're still classmates. And you said, what, 800 days today?
Yes, sir.
I think it's 876 for me.
Nice.
But, no, I've been thinking about that. You know, a lot of things I've been hearing. It's that first drink that will get you drunk. And I'm really thinking about that a lot, because it used to take me 5 nips every night from the ride home up for work. And I wasn't even buzzed. But I know now, even if I have 1 nip, probably nothing will happen. But I got that disease that I can't just have one.
Right.
Maybe that first day I might have 1, but I know within a week I'll be back to the 5, and then I'll be adding that half gallon. I'll probably start with a pint, and within a week I'd be up to a half gallon of whiskey. I'd be getting a half gallon of whiskey again. And I just can't go through that misery I went through. Before I go on, drop the cigarettes on the floor.
Oh, Jesus, thank you.
Not to change the subject, but, no, but, one drink will get me drunk, and I know that now, because I had the disease where I couldn't have one. I'd always try. I used to tell myself, Joe, try to stay with that constant buzz. You get that little glow. I could never do it, especially at the end. It wasn't even fun anymore drinking. It was making me sick. Couldn't remember blackouts. Don't remember what I had for supper. And I cooked it. And I don't remember what I cooked. It was crazy. People, I hated people. It made me so sick and insane. And I never want to be that insane. The physical part, yeah, I heard. I had pains all over, like you said, piss and shit and blood and stuff like that. But even with going through that, I still was drinking. That's how insane this is. But the mental part, and that's the hardest part, because we don't even realize how fucked up we are in the head. We don't even realize it. Everyone else around us knows it, but we don't know how fucked up we were until we got sober, and we could continue this. And it's make my life so much better now. When I go to bed, I never slept through the whole night while I was drinking, especially at the end. Just waking up and crazy dreams. I don't even have crazy dreams anymore. I just sleep right through the night. I'm retired, I just get up, I don't set an alarm clock. I'm usually up by 5:30 anyways, but I don't set an alarm clock, I just sleep through the night. And things don't bother me like they used to bother me. And I think, like you said, going through the steps. I haven't officially sat down and rolled them out, but I go to 2-step meetings every week. So I go through that 12 and 12 book all the time. I'm looking for an AWOL that's coming up. I'm gonna see, I got the word out, people keep an eye out for AWOLs going around. And I'm gonna try that. And the AWOLs are a big commitment because you guarantee you gotta do 26 weeks straight. And it's almost, you have to be there almost every week. Well, for me, it's not a problem because I'm here for, commitments are not for me, but it's a commitment, and I'm sure I'll get a lot out of it, I learned how to be a better person. It was funny last night, I mentioned I got that stepgirl living, and they were leaving the house when I was leaving from the meeting. They said, we'll be back in a couple hours. I got home and they still weren't home. I don't think they didn't get home till 11 or 12 o'clock. And I used to be, when my kids would go out, I'd be a worrywart, going crazy. But how I solved that problem was I drank and passed out. But last night, I had a little worry. She's not even my child, but I was still worried. But I was still able to sleep. Because I had faith in God. I don't know what it is, but I was able to, I had some worry in me, but I still was able to cope with life. I can understand life again. I went to a wake this morning, and there was one of the members, Eddie, that I used to bring around last year, because he didn't have his license, and it was like an AA meeting. It was just like, there were like 10 or 12 of us there, and we could have had a meeting, It's just a great life now, being sober, I have no regrets for being sober. I have no regrets for telling people I'm an alcoholic. This has changed my life immensely. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. That's in 2023. All right.
Jerry Alcohol.
Hey, Jerry.
I was thinking the other night, my first taste of booze, I fell in love with booze. When I was 12, 13 years old, and, I progressed that, I came from a good family. I had no excuses for some of the things that I did as a teenager. And, nobody could tell me anything. I looked forward to drinking, and that was all it was, during my teenage years. And, 17, my dad said to me, he said, we're not gonna, I had 3 sisters, and he said, we're not gonna put up with it, you could either go to school or get a job, and I wouldn't do either one of them, I'd come home 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, 16 and 17 years old. And the true officer yanked me out of a machine shop on 8th Street in South Boston. I was running a hot press, and I think I was just 16 years old, making $1.35 an hour, And all I felt was a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around, and I'll never forget him, he said, come with me, buddy. Like that, really sarcastic and everything else. Put me in a car and brought me back to Southie, back to the Gavin school where I was supposed to be, instead of working. And I got a warning from them and everything else about youth service board. I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit. All I wanted to do was make my youth go drink and have fun. And like I said, I became a night owl. I'd sleep during the daytime and run around till it got worse as I got older, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And one night I stumbled over into the combat zone and I fell in love with the place. I did, I was 17 years old, and I went in, I put a dollar bill on the bar, and I looked at the guy, and he looked at me, and he looked at my dollar bill, and he gave me a beer. I was like just 17 years old, and I met other people who were right around my same age and everything else. The incarceration started. I wasn't even 18 years old. I was heading for the House of Correction at Deer Island. I had to go before a judge, and I didn't know whether my mouth shut or not. They come down, they said disorderly conduct, drunk, and stuff like that. And the judge says, I think you need a little time away from whatever you're up to and everything else. And he said 90 days at the House of Correction. I said, you can stick 90 days up your ass. He told me 6 months up at the House of Correction. And I had a public defender kid. He's elbowing me. He said, you shut the hell up. Because you're going to be doing life if you keep running your mouth. And that's the way my life went on. All the ceiling and everything else, I wound up doing 5.5 years at the House of Correction at Deer Island. And every time I went there, I had an in. Because my dad was friends with the Sullivan brothers. They ran the place. They were captain and a lieutenant. And they owned the bar over in Salty, and they were good friends with all my uncles and my dad, So they seemed, oh, you back again? Holy shit, like that. And they give me one of the best jobs. I didn't even have to go into the cells. I'd go right into the dormitory, And I thought I had a life, and I was sober. For the first time in 4 or 5 years, I was sober, and I was only a kid. They both used to shake their head. Dad and uncles, they're pretty pissed off at you, like that. And I said, too bad. I didn't give a shit about family and everything else. All I cared about was drinking and having a good time, And then that went on, 1969 rolled around. I was on drugs and everything else. I had lost 60 pounds. I looked like a scarecrow, And my dad and my uncles were going up and down Washington Street looking for me, and trying to grab me because somebody had seen me from the family. I said, he looks like he's ready to die. I felt that way. I had you used to have Dirty John's hot dog stand on Washington Street and Laverne Street. I think it was Laverne Street. And then hot dogs were 10 cents a piece. And I'd be going through my pockets, and this is the kind of life I was leading. If I had 40 cents, I got 4 hot dogs. And I'd eat them, and then I'd go. If I didn't have any more money, I'd start robbing cars and stuff like that. It was just I threw my whole life away, and it was all because of booze. 1969 rolled around, and I met the girl of my dreams. I was at a Christmas party, and I walked over and I started talking to her and everything else, and her girlfriend said, "Tell us, we had a hell of a weekend." Jesus Christ, she's nothing but trouble, like that. And she told me, She wrote down a phone number, she gave me a call when you straighten your ass off like that. You know? And the funny part was that I stopped using the drugs. I was selling black beauties down the combat zone and everything else. And the guy was supplying me with hundreds of them. And we were selling like $1 a piece, and he got 50 cents and I got 50 cents. You know, and that was my job. You know, people would come up to me and they'd buy 10, 15 at a time and everything else. And that was my drinking money for the night, you know. But when I met her, it's different, like you know, you hear about fellas going out in your head when you meet the right person. And that's what happened to me, you know. I called her up and I was everything else. I said, I'm trying to square myself away. I said, you know, I don't know what to do. She says, how about a job like that? And she said, my brother-in-law works at the paper mill over here in Hyde Park. You know? And she said, why don't you give it a whirl? And I did. I come out here and I couldn't believe it. The first time in my life, I was off drugs. I was still having a couple of beers. I walked in the employment office. As soon as I said my brother-in-law's name, Ray, who was a personnel manager, he hired me right away. He said, your brother-in-law's been here a long time. I heard that you were coming in here. He said, you're going to go on the machines. He said, can you be here back here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? I said, yeah. And they, you know, everything fell in line. The heat was so bad and everything else. I haven't lasted a month. You know? I walked out the door and I said, I'm quit. You know? I said, I'll come back to my paycheck. And I couldn't find anything else. I went over here to Spectre Shoe, which was right down the street here. And I hated the place. The smell of the sneakers made me want to puke. Imagine all the shit that I slept in backseats of cars and alleys and stuff like that. But yet the sneakers made me want to throw up. I said, the guy else back there, he was a really nice guy. He gave me a truck. You know, they had bought trucks from Casanova Bakery that went out of business. He gave me a truck because I know you're having a hard time getting back and forth. You know? And he says, give me the keys. He says, there you go, like that. And I told him, I can't work here. I said, thank you, everything else. But he said, stay. He said, you're a good guy. He started opening up small little shoe places to sell in Rochester and everything. And I was supplying them with the truck. And finally I told him, I said, I just can't work here, you know. And I went back to the paper mill. And when I walked in the door, Ray looked at me, he said, oh, look who's back, you know. And I couldn't stop laughing like that. I said, I'm sorry, Ray. He said, you don't have to be sorry. He says, can you be back here at 3 in the morning, 3 this afternoon? I said, yes. Then you hired again. I said, you got any work boots? I said, yeah. I stayed there for 18 and a half years. You know, I was still drinking, you know, not as bad as I was and everything else. I got a family, an automatic family. You know, my sister-in-law had a bad drug problem. They come down to take their kids away, and I took all 3 of them. You know, and I brought them into my apartment over in Dorchester, and it was just the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. You know, I'm going to a barbecue tomorrow, and all those 3, they're all grown up. The oldest is 60 years old. I had them all when they were 8, 7, 6. You know, 3 of them. And you know, it's going to be the end of the summer, and my nephew was going back to California, where he lives with his 4 boys, you know, and 4 wives. I told him, Jesus Christ. I couldn't believe it. You know, I met one of them. I said, which one are you? You know, we had a wedding last year, but one of my nieces says, which one are you? You know, like that. She's on number 4. I said, holy shit. Like that. I said, and I know there's no ladies around there. I said, can't you keep your dick on?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. And 3 of the boys from one of them. And it wasn't even the one I was talking to. You know, I said, holy shit. They're like that. But I'm proud of them all. You know, that the only one that has a drug problem is my oldest son. You know, and he's a pain in the ass. You know, and you hear me talk about him all the time. I lost my wife. That was my green girl. And, you know, I took a stay at home and everything else. And, you know, I inherited him. His wife, on his birthday, was waiting on the front steps for him with 2 plastic bags, and a folder. She said, sign these papers, here's your clothes, get the fuck out of here. You know, like that. And it devastated him. You know, he fell apart. You know? And I just told him, I said, you know, he came to my house looking, and I didn't want to open the door. When I saw the bags, I said, oh shit. You know? But I did, I let him in, and he got in 4.5 years now. You know? And I told him he had to leave. I want to sell my house and everything else, and he threw a temper tantrum. He almost put his hands through the wall, and I just looked at him. I said, "Oh, you come closer." I haven't put my hands on anybody in a long, long time. I'll make an exception for you. You know? you know, I love the kid, I mean, you know, he's my oldest. And, you know, he's calmed down a lot and everything else, because I put the house on hold, you know, selling the house and everything else. And, you know, I'm going on with my life. Like I said, I lost my wife. We opened up the Justice Today group over here in Malone, Senior Citizens Place. And, you know, like, when I got sick, she saved my life in 1969. And 1.5 years ago, I saved hers. I tried to save hers. I put her from straight snow off the steps. All I heard was Jerry, like that. I went to bed from it, and I said, "Yeah, what's the matter?" Like that. And she was bedridden. And I made a promise. When she first got sick, I would not put her in a nursing home. And I kept that promise right up to the day she died. She said, "Oh, like that." She tried and she just stopped. The eyes rolled up in her head, pulled it down the ground. They had plenty of working for the city of Boston and homeless services. I learned how to CPR and everything else. There was nothing I could do. The fire department, I said, she's long gone, you know, like that. And I didn't have to pick the drink over. I really didn't. And everybody was worried about it. My kids were worried, my grandkids were worried about it, but I never had to pick up a drink over. I came back and this is the first week that I came back to, because I had been taking care of her for over a year and a half, you know. And I walked in and everything else, and everybody like you hear from all of us. We stuck our hands on, and you know, we got to know each other. What's your name and all this stuff all over again. You know? And I'm sober 40 years, and that was like a miracle. I don't do the steps. I don't do all the stuff that's behind your rug. You know, but somebody, it's all here in the heart. It's all in my mind. You know, it keeps me sober. I wasn't going to come here today, but my girl, who I love, she's a new person in my life, and she's having a birthday party with her kids, and I didn't really want to go. You know, I tried to tell her, you know, that it was private for her, but there's one of her sons, he's a cop, and I can't stand the best.
That's the reason.
I mean, he doesn't talk shit around me or anything else like that. And, you know, I mean, just like him. And the other son is a lawyer, you know, so I mean, I'm locked up in the middle. And, you know, they were coming over to take her up for her birthday and everything else. They included me, they didn't leave me out and everything else. And I just rolled out of bed and I said, "Girl, I'll see you probably about 1 or 2 o'clock." I said, "I think I'm gonna hit the meeting." I said, and check my house and everything, make sure my kid didn't burn it down, you know. But that's another thing too. Every time I walked in the house, I smelled pot. I said, "Holy shit," I said, "that stuff is great."
Right.
Oh, every window in my house, it was wintertime. Every window in my house was wide open, the front door was wide open, and everything else like that. And he said, "What's the matter, Dad?" "What's the matter?" I opened my front door and I almost got bombed. Holy shit. I said, "What are you doing? Buying the shit by the pound?" So I fixed his ass really good. I got a nice chair, I put it up in the middle of my yard. I said, "Get your fucking ass out there and don't come back to this house smoking either cigarettes or weed." I said, "Because if you do," I said, "the little shit box truck you got there in my driveway," I said, "Yeah, you're gonna be living it." And I said, "I'm gonna stand by that." I said, "Good." And he's done it. He's really done it. I mean, the windows are still open. This is can't get my smell out of the house. Then he found my old pipe. And I was pissed because he was using, I had a pipe that had Popeye the Sailor Man on it, with a little lid like that. And I found it years ago. I had it stashed out when I first got sober. And it was still over the pot, you know? And I laughed like hell, and I said, "Mike, look at this, you know?" And I wanted it at the yard sale. You know, the son of a bitch, he was using my pipe. And he said, "You're not mad, are you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm mad." I said, "That's an antique." Like that. He's like, "Clean it out." I said, "What could you do?" That's my pipe. You know? And I put it back, I got a full bar on my cellar, and it looks like the barrels that I used to hang around and everything else. The signs on the walls and everything else, you know. And I do so many parties down there, it was unreal, you know. But, you know, I'm gonna be sorry when I finally move out of there and everything else. But, you know, something, that I paid $27,000 for this house, and I'm gonna get $620,000. And I said, what? Holy shit, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'll be at the casino, I'll be down in Las Vegas. You know, and I was talking to the girl, I said, I'm gonna buy a place in Florida. She said, whoa, calm down. She said, you don't have the money in your pocket yet. Calm down. And I still laugh about it, everything else. I really don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about much. I got 2 pensions coming in, and I'm very lucky about, the bills and money left over and everything else. I haven't been able to enjoy my life, But something I enjoy my life about booze and about drugs. When people talk to me and everything else, I'm really a nasty bastard. I really am. I had somebody tell me to hurry up and stop the shop a couple of weeks ago, and I said to her, I had 3 cases of water, a case of Diet Pepsi, and a thing, and I asked the girl, and she said, you put them up in the thing, and she told me to shut up. I said, what did you say? Like that, she's a big old fat lady. I said, you kiss my ass, you bitch. And then when I walked out the door, I said, that's not an EAA. I'm not, I got my car and everything else, and, I worked 18 and a half years, 19 years out of Boston, Long Island, alcohol, in the middle of Boston Harbor, the city of Boston, as an alcohol drug counselor. I became a nighttime supervisor, and when my wife died, that was it. I quit. I couldn't work anymore. And I worked with homeless people. And I'll tell the last part of the story. You must be getting close. Oh yeah, I got 5 minutes. I didn't want to work there. I mentioned in the paper. I didn't want to work there. A friend of mine, Eddie White, who was well known in my park, and he says, why don't you come on down? He said, I'll let the Lucia Ritchie Wine Club. He's head of the Boston Public Health Commission. So I said, yeah, okay. I went down there and everything else, walked around, and he came down out of his office and started talking to him. He took a look at me from the paper mill, I was like this. I had arms on me like King Kong, and he said, my God, he said, you're hired. I said, I don't even want to work here. Like that. He said, just try it out and see what you think. I said, all right. So I tried it out. The first night they had riots up on the 3rd floor with all these Spanish dudes. Like that, I come out, one of them each arm, and I was moving another one down the stairs. And I walked through there and everything else, and I was the only one in the history of the Boston Public Health Commission that was going to get executed. Spanish guys had me all set up and everything else, and a girl that worked for me, I was a supervisor. She understood Spanish. She said, Jerry, one of the men's room. She said, go to the second stall and reach out and see if you can find. And I went up there, and I found one of the biggest fucking knives. I still got it in my house. One of the biggest fucking knives I had. The only reason why I didn't get stabbed was the kid that they assigned it to. He backed down. He wouldn't do it. And then he went to the girl and told her and everything else. And I walked over to them, and they used to have fuel shells there where everybody slept, and all the Spanish guys were all over once a night. And I said, and he said, don't speak English. I said, anybody, translate and everything else. The first one he'd make a fucking move at me, I said, I'm gonna fucking bury you. You understand me? I said, I'm here to do a job. I'm not here to kiss your ass or anything else like that. And all of a sudden I got the respect of the world. Like that. I said, holy shit. Yes, Mr. Jerry, how you doing? Then they started calling me the big guy and everything. And I love that job, because of my wife's illness and everything else. I decided to give it up, And I still miss it today. They asked me 3 times to come back after I retired. I said, I'm 77 years old. I said, I'm not going to keep doing this shit. I don't have the hard work, And I was telling the truth. But I still miss it today. I just turned 80 and I miss working with those people. I still hear from people from the shelter and everything else. They call me. They weren't all bums. There was lawyers, there was cops in there, and there was all kinds of homeless people. And like I said, every now and then I hear this one died and that one died. Because we had an AIDS program up there. It's absolutely cool. They wanted me to take it over and everything else. And thank God. So anyway, it must be close to 12. Oh, okay, good. So thanks for cheering, Rob. It was always a pleasure to see you. I think you've been up there 3 times in the past week.
Right, I know.
You must say, hey,
I get sick of seeing you.
I know, I'll get sick of seeing me too. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, anybody got a burning desire?
I'll say so. My name's Adrian. I'm alcoholic.
Hey, Adrian.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, for coming in late. But I just want to say it feels good to, to be going through another day because it's sober, That's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going on, 60-something days now. I don't know, it's close to 7. Close to 7. Thank you. And ever since, I'm new in recovery, obviously, but it's funny. Ever since I stopped drinking, my life is drastically improved. Strange. Yesterday I just signed a lease to a new apartment. And a great location, like at the beginning of Chinatown, like the south end of Chinatown borderline. It's not cheap, but it's not overly expensive. You know what I mean, for the area. Right across the street from my job. I'm with Public Works, City of Boston. So it's like, it's a blessing, man, when you get that place. So far, so good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. And congratulations for all that, man. No doubt. Anybody else got a burning desire? My guy in the middle, you good? All right, let's get it. Eminentities, the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. I have the right to say I'm an alcoholic and I had 10 minutes, but you do not have the right to say I saw you here. All right, and if you have, please keep somebody in your prayers that's sick and suffering. All right, who keeps us sober? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. Keep coming. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Keep coming.